To this now, the Board of Inquiry into Iran's participation in a BRICS plus naval exercises in South Africa might encounter legal challenges before it even sits. The Defense Act stipulates that only members of the military in the employ of the department may serve on a Board of Inquiry, which means that Judge Bernard Mwepe, who was named chairperson, might run into some problems. According to a City Press report, any entity can challenge the board's findings in court if the judges were not properly appointed. Let's speak now to the South African National Defence Union's advocate, Pieke Greef, who joins us tonight. Advocate, good evening to you. Thank you very much for your time. I'm going to refer directly to that article of the City Press, and it says, I quote now, Section 101, subsection 4 of the Defense Act stipulates that only members of the military in the employ of the Department of Defense may serve on a Board of Inquiry. Do you think that the minister knew this, or she may have overlooked it? And what then is she going to do to ameliorate this defect?
I think, what's very important here is to look at the wording of that act. I think the article took some, journalistic freedoms there. The real wording is, or the exact wording, is that a board should consist of members employed by the Department of Defense. So, one wouldn't know what exactly the appointments letters say with regards to these judges. But it is, as you say, it becomes a risk of being challenged. But I think to try and ameliorate it, it would be to keep in mind that even if these judges are not according to the book, valid Board of Inquiry, they can still do an inquiry. The point is, if any member of the Defence Force is implicated in this investigation, let's call it the investigation for the purposes of this discussion, then that person will in any case have to face the prosecuting authorities of the military, where there is a new investigation and where the so-called board or this investigation's results will really not feature. In the sense that it cannot just be handed in as evidence. There will have to be another so-called preliminary investigation in order for a prosecution to take place in a military court.
Okay. Let's also deal with this, because the assertion that the minister will have to co-opt these three judges into the Department of Defense, basically make them be members or officials of the department in order for them to legally sit on this Board of Inquiry. Is that something that is indeed demanded of by the policy regulations?
Well, I think to a certain extent, that is one way that the minister can deal with it. Hopefully the department will provide more clarity around that. But one of the options is one would think that if you co-opt them, it's nothing strange for a public service department. And we've seen it before in the Department of Defense, that the minister may employ persons as advisors, for instance. That has been done previously. So I suppose there's nothing that stops the minister from co-opting these members, and obviously they're going to get paid for what they do from the department's budget, and then arguing that that way they do fall within the wording of the section.
Yeah. Just as a reminder to South Africans, Advocate Greef, as to the reason that this Board of Inquiry has been established to begin with, and it is to, as the article says, to determine all of the facts in this matter, but also primarily to find out precisely who ignored the president's instruction that Iran should not participate and perhaps be an observer. The popular opinion here, this is the question now, Advocate, is that only the two presidents, one of South Africa, President Ramaphosa, and the other who were actually in charge of the naval exercises, and that is the President of China, Xi Jinping, could actually carry out this instruction or be the ones that say to Iran, don't participate in light of what is happening in your country right now. We do not want any bad press as it regards our countries. That's the, at least, understanding, or as I say, popular opinion. So, if that is the view, what is this board going to find out? Because President Ramaphosa would have presumably the one that issues this instruction. This, according to those in the know, the generals could do nothing about Iran participating here.
I think it's important to keep in mind that one of the things that, and to be fair to the Minister of Defense also, you know, one of the things that she said right at the start when she spoke about this investigation is that it's an investigation into allegations that the president's order was not obeyed. So obviously, in investigating those allegations, one first needs to test, was there in fact an instruction given? And secondly, whether that instruction was then disobeyed. And then thirdly, the reasons why they might have been disobeyed. And I think that's what the investigation is about. You know, so one will have to wait and see what the evidence say, and certainly hope that the judges will go through the evidence very thoroughly and come to some conclusion and give some clarity on that. At this stage, it's only speculation of what really happened, and I think the best way to solve it is obviously to get this investigation done as soon as possible.
Final question, Advocate, and I could easily throw this as a, or say that this is a throwaway question, but because of the fact that South Africans have become wary of tasks teams, commissions of inquiries, in this instance, boards of inquiry, they will be, they will have their guard up to say, is this another exercise in futility, because it's possibly going to end up being money gone to waste, and it is taxpayers' money going to waste. Question is this a necessary evil?
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a necessary evil, but I can understand the pessimism. The fact is, however, it needs to be investigated, whether you do it through a board of inquiry, whether you do it through a preliminary investigation, or any other kind of investigation. It needs to be inquired into because the allegation was made in public, and it needs to be explained what the facts were. It's going to take time and resources anyway, whether you do a board of inquiry or just another form of inquiry or a preliminary investigation, which I referred to earlier. It's going to take time and resources, and it is needed. What, of course, also fuels the pessimism is that the department, unfortunately, in the past, has not been very forthcoming with the results of boards of inquiry. So hopefully this time it will be different. The public will have access to the investigation and the findings and recommendations, and hopefully the department will share that with the public.
Quickly, before I let you go, you are with the Defense Union, which basically means that you speak and represent members of the South African Defence Force. Do you believe that some of the generals have gone rogue?
No, there's no indication that, and I think this is why it's very important that the investigation be done. Otherwise, that will remain speculation. It'll fuel rumors, and one needs to get to the truth as soon as possible. And if that is the case, and we sincerely hope it's not, then those individuals will be dealt with according to the law, hopefully. But can I also just say that since we represent members of the SNDF, if any of our members would be implicated in this board, certainly one of the points of attack that we would take or seriously consider to take is exactly the legality of the constitution of this board. But yeah, it's early days. Like I said, let's hope the department gives an explanation for this board, the way that they put it together. And let's see what the investigation uncovers before we start rumor mongering.
Advocate Piki Gref is with the South African National Defence Union. Thank you very much for your time.